It's the training they've all been waiting for. After 3 weeks of carrying a weapon everywhere, the troops now finally get to squeeze the trigger. Kenia Mills takes us back to Sand Hill for the latest episode of The Making of a Soldier. It's called Zeroing Day.
All right, did you charge already? Go ahead, charge weapon system. All right, go ahead, fire.
It's everything they've ever dreamed of. But before we get to these bad boys, let's start with the very basics.
Hawthorne! Yes, sir, Sergeant. What are you shooting at?
This is how weapons training begins at U.S. Army Basic Training, at the zeroing range. This is where future soldiers learn to use their M4 carbines, practicing the fundamentals of shooting on a paper target.
Steady position, control your breathing. Good, steady, slow, finger squeeze.
Those are the fundamentals. Let's see what happens when you put them to practice.
You're shooting here, right? Yes, sir. Long as we track him. He ain't hitting the paper. He may be a little confused.
It's actually really easy to shoot. You just do as little as possible. You point it at the target, you don't disturb the lie of the weapon, and you gently squeeze the trigger. Rinse, lather, and repeat.
But it's not that simple. Some of these troops are experienced shooters and some aren't. Out here, you really can't tell the difference.
Fire when all of your breath comes out of your body, squeeze the trigger.
Strange at first, pretty exciting, you know, it's just something that you have to get used to.
It's pretty stressful. It's nice to shoot a gun, release some stress.
And ironically, it's the experienced shooters that have the hardest time zeroing.
Because a lot of these guys that came in had fired weapons prior to them coming in the Army, and we have to break those old habits.
He's pulling it when he's firing. You see here?
Yes, sir, Sergeant. It's actually very easy. Once they just let go of the old habits they have and let us teach them.
What is he doing? He's all over the place. What is he moving?
To put it simply, zeroing day can be tedious.
He's all over the place. Okay.
Every minor movement while shooting a weapon can mean the difference between a tight shot group and spraying random bullets like this.
He started here, then he came down in here, now he's up here. If he's not on the paper at all, you have to make some bold adjustments to get him back on the paper, and then try to harness in on applying his 4 fundamentals and everything like that.
The more scattered the shots, the more shooting. Checking and adjusting must be done over and over and over again in some cases.
You just have to have patience because you have to understand that these are brand new soldiers to the Army, and some of them have had no familiarization or exposure to these weapon systems.
From here to here.
Roger that, Sir.
And then from here to nowhere.
Roger that,
just disappeared. Tell him to shoot it again.
Roger that, Sir.
So you just have to have patience and make sure that, you know, you work with these soldiers to be able to accomplish the tasks at hand.
All right, privates, move down!
It's a slow, repetitive process, but without zeroing, the troops are not able to fire and engage targets with their M4s, especially when they get to qualification ranges later on.
All right, where are we at now? Is this him? He's on the paper! Yes!
When I was at home shooting, yeah, I could hit the target, but like how they're having the grouping and the zeroing, my groups weren't as close together as they should have been. And so doing this here has actually helped me out a lot.
So in the end, the moral of this story is, in order to shoot like a pro, you've got to master the basics. Kenia Mills for Benning TV.
Great story, Kenia. So now that these soldiers are ramping up for more weapons training, what do you have coming up next in the series?
That's right, and we're going to skip over the qualification process at the pop-up ranges because it's pretty cut and dry, but on the next few episodes of Making of a Soldier, get ready for big bangs, explosions, and machine gun fire as we head into heavy weapons training with the troops. So you definitely want to check it out. It's going to be a blast.